So this was my fourth marathon finish, but this one carries a different weight. In November, I made a difficult decision to switch my from an in-person race to a virtual one after a sudden flare-up from my hip and an unexpected orthopedic doctor visit. What should have been the peak training season became a season of uncertainty when pain replaces momentum. The cortisone shot didn't deliver the relief I hoped for, and suddenly I was questioning not just the race, but my body as well. A few weeks later, by December 3rd, I was in Mexico traveling, held together by KT, support tape, and a lot of determination. I was taking 800 milligrams of ibuprofen like clockwork to stay functional, lidocaine patches, so forth and so on. And my very worst, I could hardly even lift my leg. Anyone who understands hip injury knows that pain does not stay put, it radiates. From the low back, the glutes, the groin, the hamstring, the quad, the IT band, the deep ball of the hip, arthritis. As soon as one area was released, it seems like the pain just migrated to another area. Then there was my shoulder. One morning I woke up barely able to raise even my arm to put on my shirt. Another reminder that my body was carrying more than just miles. It was carrying years of wear, joint pressure, etc. My chiropractor became the unsung hero of the journey. Each visit came with brutal honesty. First, he said, I was in quote unquote bad shape. The next visit, he said, you're in quote unquote bad shape. And eventually he told me this was the worst I had ever been under his care. But he also did the work carefully, identifying each injury, restoring mobility with adjustments, and helping me stay functional enough to continue. This fourth marathon required more than endurance. It required surrender. Honestly, was I able to complete 26.2 miles in one setting? No, not this year. I had to complete my marathon over 5 days. My time limit was a little bit longer than usual, my average, and I had to make peace with that. My body can only handle about 5-6 miles at a time, which is really just a 10K. And that reality for me was disappointing. It kind of felt like failure, but this race has always been a me versus me. And the goal wasn't ever perfection. It's always been persistence. Every year I attach a focus to my marathon, something that I'm building and believing or becoming. And this year I attached my business. See, I've heard several speakers say that network marketing is like running a marathon. It's not a sprint. I've heard people say life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And that analogy resonated deeply with me because I've already completed 3 marathons. I understand the makeup. I understand the pacing, the discipline, the mental endurance, the unseen miles, and moments when quitting feels logical, but continuing is a choice. While attending our international business convention in Orlando, Florida last September, a woman from the UK who was a top earner in the business was doing a general training. She spoke about business success the same way that runners talk about finishing a marathon race, showing up consistently, trusting the process, adjusting when conditions change, and understanding that progress doesn't always look fast, but it's still forward. So whether she's actually a marathon finisher, the trainer, I don't even know. But that training stayed with me a part of the process. See, this marathon mirrored my business journey in ways I didn't expect. The pace has been slower. The timeline has been longer than anticipated. The strategy has had to shift, but the commitment to stay the same. But just like in business, I learned that you don't quit because the process changes. You adapt and you keep moving. This wasn't about a perfect finish. Number 4, it wasn't. It was about staying in the race and not quitting or giving up. Consistency became the strategy. Listening became the discipline. Adjusting became the winner. And that's also the truth that this honestly is going to probably be my last marathon. High mileage leaves its mark. Years of pounding the pavement with the toll on your joints. And then the wisdom sometimes means recognizing when a season is shifting. Still, I finished. And despite injury, despite limitations, despite moments of doubt, I'm still in an uphill battle with my body. I'll be back at the orthopedic doctor next week, but I'm grateful, thankful, and blessed. Through every ache, adjustment, and unanswered question, God has remained good, faithful, and kind to me. This finish is just as meaningful as my first marathon because this time the victory wasn't about speed or strength. It was about obedience, perseverance, and trusting God through a process that didn't look the way I planned it to go. So, marathon finisher number 4 hits differently. And honestly, I wouldn't trade the lesson for anything. Waiting on my medal and t shirt to show up in my mailbox. I don't worry about what others or naysayers say. Life is a marathon, it is not a sprint. But I can tell you one thing for sure: the body keeps the score, but the soul writes the script. 4 marathons, 4 years. They told me 13 years ago that I would not be able to run. I had to learn how to walk again after surgery, and my running days were over. Can I run? I can jog slow or I can walk fast, however you want to put it. But I only did 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what victory looks like: perseverance,